So I've spent the last couple of nights running through Until Dawn, and now that I've completed it, I figured I'd tell you what I ended up thinking about the game. So first off, you can really literally say this about every game that's out there, but it really bears repeating in a game like this. This is not going to be a game for everybody. Until Dawn is, I would say, an interactive movie. So it's centered around storytelling. There's a lot of cutscenes and a ton of QuickTime events. That's the majority of the game, aside from a lot of walking. And I'll be completely honest with you, after my first couple of hours with the game, I turned it off that first night, really not impressed at all. And it felt more like a chore having to play through instead of, me just wanting to play through because I was enjoying the game so much. And it seemed like the build-up was really slow. But by the second night, and by the time I think I got into like the third or fourth act, which there's 10 chapters by the way, things started to finally pick up and I began enjoying it a lot more. Now, the game's really been praised for a mechanic that they call the butterfly effect, where decisions that you make can affect the outcome of the game. So you can end the game literally with hundreds of different endings, which is really cool. And sometimes as you're playing, you realize how what seemingly a small decision, had such a huge impact on one part of the game. So I did enjoy that aspect a whole lot. And the game's sort of like, your classic horror B film, where sometimes you just want to scream at the screen and ask, why are you doing such stupid things and making these decisions that nobody in their right mind would make, like letting somebody go off by themselves when you know that you should stay together as a group, or the fact that so many of these characters have cell phones on them, but, they don't try to dial 911. In one of the first scenes, a character's phone is vibrating and they go back to this area a few times and, nobody thinks to dial 911. But, these are the things that happen in these classic, B horror films. People run upstairs to lock themselves in a room when you could have just ran out the front door, So, some of the scenes are also frustrating because you're having to walk and you're taking your sweet time walking up and down stairs whenever you're supposed to be in a hurry to try to get somewhere, And anybody who wasn't brain damaged would be running in these types of scenarios. But the game only allows you to walk or walk slightly faster, and there's honestly not a whole lot of difference between each one. And also little things like sometimes just the characters don't act right. And that can take you out of the experience. For instance, right before this scene right here, these two characters witnessed something completely horrible. And then it was just like a few seconds later, they were pumped full of Valium from somewhere and, didn't care about what happened.
It was my fault, man.
No, this is insane. We need to go get some help.
We're cut right in half.
We're gonna figure this out.
Matt, we need to go get help now.
And we should look for the others.
Mike and Jess are off 69ing each other, and who knows where Sam
I
is.
think she's in the lodge.
Fine, you're right. Get everyone else together, but if there's a maniac running around, I think we need to get some help too, right? Not just wait around.
But what about...
Why are we still talking about this? Let's go!
Now, most of the time, things like this wouldn't even be worth mentioning in a game review, but since this is a game that, is based entirely off the story and the characters, I did find that it was worth mentioning because it did, take me out of that experience for a little bit. As far as the overall story is concerned, though, I did find that it was pretty interesting and pretty good. It held my attention once everything started picking up. And I did end up caring about some of the characters and the decisions that I was making. So some of these people, I was trying to do things that I felt would try to keep them alive. Now, because this is a horror game, it tries to scare you a lot. And it does that primarily with jump tactics like loud noises or things popping up on screen really fast. I would say the vast majority of them, didn't affect me at all. It was like you knew that it was about to come or whatever. But there were a couple of places in the game where it did make me jump. Overall, I'm glad that I experienced the game, and it was a game that's been on my radar since it was first revealed, and I went in knowing that it was basically an interactive movie. And I think as long as you go in knowing what to expect and realize that you're about to play an interactive movie and you're still interested in that, then I think it's a game that you should definitely check out. At the end of it, there were some choices that I wish I had made differently, and you can go back at the end of the game and replay some of the chapters in order to make different decisions if you want to. So there is that replayability factor to go back through and see if you can kill off certain characters that you didn't like or end up keeping some alive. And honestly, if I could skip some of the cutscenes and some of the walking segments, I may have went back and tried to do some things differently. But some parts of the game were just so slow and cumbersome for me that I'd rather just watch a replay on YouTube instead of having to go back through and replay it myself. So I would say Until Dawn is definitely worth a look. I'm not sure that I'd recommend it for $60, but it's definitely worth a rental. And if you find it on sale somewhere down the road, then I would say that would be a lot better than paying $60 for this experience. And kudos to my local Redbox for having this in stock on release date. But overall, I would say it's a game that if you're interested in interactive movies with a decent story and you like horror, then definitely check out Until Dawn.
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.